Hello and welcome to the 13th episode of the Gameskinny Roundtable. This is being recorded on Wednesday, September the 4th, 2013, to be aired on Friday, September the 8th. Today we have 5 of us here today. First of all, we have Ernesto in the corner. No, Brian.
Hello. That's it. Got nothing else to say.
You're supposed to say something like yabba dabba doo.
Yabba dabba.
I am very disappointed in you.
Yabba dabba do me. Let's get this show on the road.
Alright, then. Gary?
I am Gary. I wear my sunglasses at night, and I'm a hipster.
And that's all he knows of the song, so don't ask him for any more. Louis?
I got my sexy beach shirt on right now. Yeah, you like that.
Up in that collar?
Oh, why not? Because I can.
God.
Because I can. All right.
And also Riley, being a ninja and hiding. What he does.
Yabba dabba doo.
Wait a minute. What the?
It doesn't work if you do it.
No.
Oh, that's
yeah.
great.
I don't know.
And I'm Steph! Hi! I have nothing to follow that up on besides...
Video
Hi.
games.
Welcome to
We
our
have video
show.
games.
Yeah,
Of
so
craziness.
this week brought us the re-release of Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse, and Ernesto is super excited about that one. So it brings us to the topic of the week, which is just how many classic video games are going to come back to us in re-release and HD.
All of them.
All of
And
them.
are
That's
they worth it? That's the big
that's how it
Final
feels
Fantasy X and X-2.
I'm gonna just go on Kickstarter. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna remake all the games. Give me your money.
like. Remake
Yeah, I
all,
think-
all the games.
I'm
Well,
legitimate.
some of the recent ones. Yeah,
like,
Gary mentioned Final Fantasy X and X2. That already feels like a recent video game in and of itself in its original form. But
Yeah.
Then you got Kingdom Hearts coming out September 10th. DuckTales just recently did their remake,
Mhm.
and I can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
Not that I could think of, but of those three of them, really, since X and X2 are both separate games, they're pretty current to me.
Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid series. Gotta.
Yes.
That's actually kind of a cool
Yeah.
combo pack, though, because it's literally almost every single Metal Gear Solid game up until now, like all the major ones at least.
Oh, the Legacy Collection?
Yeah, the Legacy Collection or whatever it is. Yeah, that thing actually is kind of cool because it has all of them, and I don't know if they're all being like HD'd-ified, but
Wasn't there one that they couldn't put in the Legacy Collection because Nintendo still owns the rights to it? Was it Snake Eater?
What? Wait, why would Snake Eater?
Not
be
Snake Eater.
Nintendo?
What was it? Not.
No.
What was the other one?
Twin Snakes.
Twin Snakes. There
Wasn't
was
that
more.
just a remake of one?
Well, yeah, it's the remake. That's technically just a remake of the first one. So just if they put in the first one, then you're fine.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it would be cool to have Twin Snakes because I know quite a few people who would most likely be willing to pay for it just for that game. But you know, Nintendo, because they're obviously going to do something with that game sometime.
I don't know. Nintendo does have a habit of giving away free games, especially
I
their
like
old
free
games.
games.
soon. They also
Yeah,
have. Go ahead.
they have a pretty good fan service. I mean, one could say it's just a good business model, but I prefer to think of it as a fan service because they know people want to buy their games, so they give you the option of doing it, which they're not exactly HD remakes of it, but they're still available. Like, what is it? The Wii U lets you play like classic games only for like less than $5 or something.
Yeah, I think it's $2.99 for originals and $4.99 for SNES, and it goes up as the systems get more current.
Which
Yeah.
isn't bad. So, what are some of the reasons we think there are so many re-releases and HD re-releases lately?
Because we like achievements.
Well, I
That
think
is a
it's
good reason for Final
because
Fantasy VII. May have bought that.
Ugh.
And
I
Final
don't
Fantasy
want to
X.
think about. I hate achievements in like RPGs because those things are going to be like, get this specific outfit, and that's going to require like, oh man, I totally missed this one event in this one town that I can never go back to again. Great, thanks.
Start all
But-
over. Take
Yeah,
two.
start all over for that one outfit that won't do anything for me.
Well,
But,
we're
but
talking
Cloud
about-
has to have the diamond tiara.
Exactly.
Who has a diamond tiara?
Cloud
What?
and the silk dress.
Huh?
Cloud in the silk dress.
Did
I
you
don't
not
know.
play that game at
I
all?
don't remember there being a diamond
Nope.
tiara.
You don't remember Cloud having a cross dress?
I remember him
you
having a
miss-
cross dress, but not a diamond
Oh
tiara.
wait, yeah. No, I remember that now.
Yeah, no, you could
I've
go
seen
through with just
pictures
the
of it, at
basic
least.
dress and like a wig, but you could also go all out and get him all the pretty things.
That's weird.
Yep, he could be the prettiest girl there. Anyway.
Besides cross-dressing, what
But-
are good reasons for it? Why do they do it?
Well, I think they do it because it's a way of marketing on nostalgia. Like a lot of people really liked certain games back when, and you know, a lot of us like might have gotten rid of the consoles or just don't have a way of playing them anymore. So it's like, well, hey, everyone likes it. People still talk about it. If we bring it back, I bet people will buy it.
So
and
it's
for the most part, they kind of do usually.
so it's like a fix for not having backwards compatibility to you, basically.
Kinda, yeah. For me, it's like certain games, I don't mind the idea of repurchasing either. Sort of like, I got the Ico Shadow of the Colossus collection, and I'm totally fine with that because I loved both those games when I first played them, and playing them again is nice because now now I can play those games with actual good frame rate. Because Shadow of the Colossus had horrible frame rate issues.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of the reasons you think the developers and the publishers
Well-
are doing this?
You know, with Nintendo, let's just take Nintendo for an example because I think they did it right, and we keep talking about, you know, people are going to lose their Nintendos or their Super Nintendos or whatever. So that digital distribution of older games at a cheaper price point is definitely a good idea. Not only is it for nostalgia, but at the same time, those games have been out and they're considered classics that you would like to share with your children that are probably gamers now, because you know the generation started with what, the Atari and the Nintendo, that area right there, and now you got all these great 3D open world games, and you'd like to show them where it originally came from, the foundation of video games. That's always nice for parents to show their children. On top of that, it's just like buying the remastered version of, let's say, a Doors album on CD. You know,
Yeah. Okay.
they're remaking it, but with Nintendo especially, they're putting it at a cheaper price point so that you can own it and still have the luxury of being able to buy your $60 games. Because we're talking also about what's a good example? Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD remake.
See, remake, yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's not say that's good quite yet.
No, and I'm not saying it's good. Well, that's the one that I was going to take as the bad point, which
How
is
about
it's very current. It's it's a pretty recent game,
Well,
and they're
less
selling it
generous,
at
yes.
yeah, and they're selling it at a $50 price point, which I wouldn't want to buy. And I don't care how many bells and whistles they put in there. $50 is too much for a game that I've already played through, that didn't even need an HD remake because it was already in. You could already play it in HD.
Well, how about Heart Gold and Soul
Essentially,
Silver?
the art style didn't require you to have HD for that game.
Right.
And what are they fixing? Riley mentioned yesterday they're fixing some light effects.
Well, the thing is,
Am I paying for that?
I don't remember if I posted in the actual group chat, but I think I sent it to you at least, Stephanie. It was like it shows a comparison in between the old game and the new one, and it literally is like the only differences I can see are the lighting effect, and it's just everything looks like it is bloom and it's brighter.
Oh, lovely.
That's about it. That
They're not
really
adding
is all
ex-
it looks like.
They're not adding extra like levels or anything. It's just
Well, that's not what an HD remake usually is. Usually, it's the same game.
it's the exact same game for $50 basically, and a bloom effect.
Pretty
That's what you're
much.
saying.
That's what it looks like.
And the original game was already $50 anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to disagree.
Have they
Hot Gold
announced?
and Soul Silver had added stuff in it.
Oh well, we're not talking about that though.
Yeah.
Like
But
there
they were
are
an HD
good
remake
remakes.
as well.
There are
Yeah,
good
but
remakes.
it's just the only reason I can think of doing that because even though it is a recent game, the market that they're trying to aim to, younger kids, that's the perfect game for them. And that came out when I was like still in middle school, maybe. I think I was
Wind Waker?
Yeah, that was like 5-6 years ago.
You
No,
were
that
in
was
middle
longer than that.
school?
Or maybe I was a freshman. I can't remember. It came out a long time ago. So now the kids that are like here and getting ready to play, they're like at the appropriate age to play it. Like
It's
they already
passing it down to
have.
the next generation.
Yeah, kind of. It's kind
If you
of
think
like
about
what.
it- No, go ahead, Louis. Finish up.
No, yeah, it's just like kind of like you were saying with passing it down to the next generation. You were talking about passing it down to your children, but in this case, it's passing it down to your little brother or sister.
Yeah. And they're doing the same thing, there's a larger time gap now, because obviously there's going to be gamepad functionality, or else, then it definitely wouldn't be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're doing it seems to me like they're doing it just in a longer time span, what they did with Twilight Princess. Or is it Twilight Princess that they had it on the GameCube?
Yeah.
And they also announced
GameCube
it
and on the Wii. And on the Wii.
on the Wii, like almost at the same time, and the only difference was the motion controls for the Wii.
Also, the worlds were actually flipped.
Oh,
So
were
where
they?
you would, so because what happened was, along with that, Link is left-handed. They make you hold the Wiimote with the right hand, so they decided it would be kind of clever to flip it so that, let's say in the GameCube version, if you turn left to go somewhere, in the Wii version, you would be turning right.
Oh,
So
wow.
the worlds were actually
That
mirrored.
is neat.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah.
This is
Isn't that kind of a dumb, sort of cool reason to do something like that?
Dumb cool reason.
dumb.
It is, because
reason.
going into it feels familiar, but it would feel different because you're going about things differently than you would before, even though it's in the same world.
And I think
And
Zelda.
Sorry, I just double checked. It was released in 2003, so it is the 10-year anniversary, kind of. So that would have made me 12. So yeah, I guess I was. I'm a little younger than you guys, but.
Wow, I feel so old right now. I mean, I waited like maybe a year or two, but I was playing that like my first year at university.
Yeah, I think I was like in June. I was in.
You were 12?
I think I was.
I was
10
a
years
sophomore.
ago would have made me 12, so.
I was a sophomore in high school.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, guys.
I had already graduated. I was gone.
I'm sorry for making you all
well,
feel.
I guess
I don't
guess
feel
we
old.
just dated
I don't know what's wrong
ourselves.
with you people.
I don't feel old.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
again, that makes
care,
me
but I
old.
was just like,
Thanks
man.
to Louis, now I know I am old, so thank you.
You don't look a day over 24, honey. So
Oh.
don't worry.
Appreciate it. But anyways, Zelda's a really good example of all this stuff because, they made Wind Waker HD, but during that same Nintendo Direct announcement, they said we are also developing a new Zelda. And what I'm saying is, first off, Wind Waker was not considered the best of the Zeldas, and I double checked, and they did have a competition, like a online voting competition to see which Zelda should be remade in HD, and it was between Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, and Majora's Mask.
I say that was rigged.
And I'm going to say it was rigged too, because Wind Waker, I would have rather.
I don't
Doesn't
see
even
how that would have
compare.
won. Yeah, I have no idea how that won.
Well, I'll tell you why it won. It won because even though it's not the most popular one, it's the most accessible one for kids, at least.
No.
And right now,
So,
well,
but these people
The
aren't
actual
ones
reason is because, like, let me tell you from a developer standpoint, the reason
let me
that
tell you
would
from a
want to
business
do
standpoint, though.
N-
Like,
no,
you can tell
from
me.
okay, you,
Go.
just
one at a
saying,
time, people.
because it is literally okay. What would be easier to remake? Would it be Wind Waker, which has a stylized art, like is very stylized, has a very distinctive art style that you can then easily translate to a newer version without having to do a whole bunch of work on it, or a two Nintendo 64 games that you would pretty much have to completely remodel the entire game, or else it's going to look butt-fuck ugly, because
Wow.
because you would have to redo all of the textures, all of the models, and pretty much recreate that entire game.
Which would sell
Now,
more.
The
well,
other one,
from a,
think of how much that would cost to remake that.
It's business
Yeah, but-
time.
Wind
yeah, it's
Waker.
business time, though.
Ocarina
Oh.
of Time and Majora's Mask.
Well, from a business standpoint, you look at it this way. Right now, they're trying to sell their system to a younger generation. And cartoony vibe that you get from Wind Waker, that's going to be grabbing the kids' eyes more than Legend of Zelda, the first one, Ocarina of Time. We love it. It was a great game for us, and it will always be hailed as great. But the parents that are buying the games for their kids right now, they see a cartoony game with a Zelda logo on it. Like, they still are accessing, like, they still recognize the Zelda logo, but it also has cartoony feel, and they're like, well, I'm buying a new system for my kid. This would be perfect for them. That's kind of like the mindset right now.
And Nintendo,
It's not,
and Nintendo's doing it really well too, because not only that, they're announcing the Wind Waker HD remake bundled with the Wii for $50 less than when the Wii U came out originally.
Well,
So on a
Yeah.
marketing and business side, you're right. That's definitely
Is that the one with the collector figure?
yeah.
no, it's not.
Well, it's not. Oh, sorry.
I know there was one. I
But-
wasn't sure if that one was
Yeah, it's like $119. It's the game with that figurine of Ganondorf and the glass dome.
But I mean, on that note, though, developers are kind of going over the line of good business sense, and it's almost using these re-releases as cash cows, which is it's unfortunate, but that's kind of what's happening. It seems like more and more.
Yeah, you see developers heading to Kickstarter to let crowdfunding drive the nostalgia, just to get these games that they've already made come back again, without doing much to them even. They're not promising a lot on these Kickstarters.
And I'm sure there's developers and the corporation itself. So the business side and the development side, they're probably butting heads all the time. Because the business side is probably saying, let's get this out there so we can make that money.
Yeah, and it's easier to get it out there now.
Right. But the developers are probably saying, like, we want to remake this because we love this game. We loved it when we were younger, and we would like to do it good service.
And do it right, yeah.
Right. But then things like, and it's not a remake, but one of the best examples of a game that pretty much every hardcore gamer was going to buy, but we all knew it was going to be probably terrible, but we bought it anyway, was Duke Nukem Forever.
that wasn't even a remake. That was just finishing the legacy.
I was gonna say, it might have been Mass Effect 3. You might have thrown that in there.
I said it wasn't a
but-
remake. I said it wasn't a remake. But but when we're talking about cash cows, that was probably one of the biggest cash cows that you could think of.
I really don't feel that way about it. I mean, like, okay, I'm sorry, I have to step back and just make a point really quickly. Do you know why they do not remake Final Fantasy VII? Do you know how many people would buy that game? Almost everyone.
Almost everyone. I
They
would.
have, yeah,
I'd
almost
buy it.
everyone. The reason they don't do it is because it would require way too much work and way too much time. And they're not willing to sacrifice that in order to bring out a game that isn't guaranteed to make that amount of money.
But it's guaranteed. the fans.
No, it's not.
But you just said it was. You just said it was
I
guaranteed.
feel that it would be guaranteed, considering how much they've made with Advent Children,
Then-
with Last Order, with the
Then you guys should all go and tell Square Enix because they
I
are
think-
not convinced.
Well, I mean that's one of the main reasons that they put out that tech demo of what Final Fantasy VII would look like, right?
Yeah.
that was
and
years
you know,
ago. I thought
yeah.
they were.
But that's what they were doing. They were showing off. They were showing off the engine, but at the same time, what they were doing is they were seeing what the reaction would have been from a business side, like of what the crowd would have, how the crowd would have reacted when the remake or when the tech demo showed up.
Okay.
Um,
And again, if you think that they will remake it, bring this to them. 'Cause that's the way they feel about it. Is they're like, we're not going to make enough money back to justify completely having to rebuild this entire game. They would almost have to start from scratch in making this game all over again. And the problem is it would also require them to make it evoke the same feeling that when you played that game for the first time.
In the
It's
meantime,
gonna
we
touch
have
my
Lightning
heart.
Returns.
Which will
Oh,
also
God damn it!
touch
Don't
my
even.
heart. She gets to
You know, so-
she wears Cloud suit.
and I
Yeah,
think
that's true. I almost considered buying a PlayStation 3 and pre-ordering that game just because she wore Cloud's like clothes.
Did you just
I would
say
pay so
Final
shoot.
Fantasy 15.
so much
save
money
us.
for a Final Fantasy 7 remake. I don't even know.
And I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, something like a Final Fantasy VII, something that has there's a lot of love for those games. They're going to get bought anyway. But if the developers don't add to make it worth the purchase,
Like adding lightning suit to Cloud's cross-dressing.
yeah, sure. No more cross-dressing this episode, please. No, for example, okay, so they had DuckTales Remastered, which came out recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which was almost minus the voice work, was a carbon copy of the original DuckTales for the Nintendo. The gameplay was exactly the same. And Stephanie mentioned at the beginning of the episode that Mickey Mouse's Castle of Illusion just came out on Tuesday or yesterday. They remade it, and it has more of a Mario 64 style, like the beginnings of what an open world would be. So what you have to do now is the diamonds. Now you have to pick up the diamonds throughout the game in the castle to open up doors to be able to play that level, which obviously was not in the original because the original was for the Genesis, and they wouldn't have been able to do that. So just even little details and little add-ons to make it feel like they're modernizing a remake, I think would be good fan service, and it would be good for developers as a pitch to the corporations that they're going to remake it.
And do you think that would justify a full-fledged price for those remakes?
No, not
Well,
a full fledged. Like if it's $15, like the ones that he's describing, like that's probably gonna be like $15.
yeah, it was $15.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
like if it's something like that, then it's like if you're just getting essentially the original game, $15, that's not a bad deal. And complaining too heavily about like, yeah, this is exactly the way it originally was. It's like, wait, wasn't that
That's
what you were buying it for?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like if they throw in little things like, hey, we decided there were no costume options in the original game, but if you want to make Mickey look like the Sorcerer's Apprentice in this one, you totally can. We did that. You know, it's if you throw in little extras and fun little other things as just a wink and a nod to, hey guys, we know that you like this, we just put in a little extra effort. That's great. That's fine. But it's I think where it starts to get into that gross middle ground is when it's stuff like with the Wind Waker remake and how it's just the only difference that I can see is that it's brighter.
And it's bright.
So-
And
Yeah,
it's
that's-
$50. And it's like,
You know, that's a really good point, though. Including
Yeah.
those little wink and nods.
So yeah, that brings us into our next thing. Actually, was some of what are some of our like HD releases that like don't really need to be. Wind Waker, I think, was one of them. Yesterday, Riley mentioned Silent Hill, and got really passionate about that one.
oh god, don't even get me started on that. Because there are plenty of places on the internet where tons of people have talked and raged about how bad that collection was. And honestly,
cooking? I feel like there are like pots and pans being.
I think
I'm
that's
sorry,
Louis
that
over
was-
there. He's
That was
shuffling.
me. I dropped something. It was a pin.
You dropped it like 5 times.
Good job.
Sorry,
But-
please go on.
Sorry.
But it's just one of those things of the main reason that game got the collection got so much hate was because the people behind the remake of it were claiming that they were the biggest Silent Hill fans, that they understood and knew what was best for those games, and were like, the old voice cast was shit, everything about it was bad, just like ripping on the original game, claiming to be the biggest fans, and then come out with something that is graphic, like, it looked worse than the original game. And it's like, how do you do this? Like, what is wrong with you people to where you claim to be the biggest fans of the world, but you don't even understand what made those games good in the first place? And also, the guy who was the head of that, Tom Hewlett, went on to make Book of Memories and Downpour and Homecoming. Like, he was the one behind all of those. Homecoming is the most egregious. Downpour isn't awful, but it's not a very good Silent Hill game. Book of Memories, you can just go fuck yourself right there.
Wow.
No, I'm not even kidding you. That
He's
is
passionate about his hill.
That is a dungeon crawling game, and it's like the preview for it was like co-op now included. It's like, go fuck yourself. Silent Hill is different to every single person that goes into it. I'm done. I'm gonna stop now. I'm gonna stop.
Yes, because he can go on. Believe us.
He
I could.
really could.
I am really proud of you.
I'm stopping.
But there are
But
other games that have come out that are very, very. They're not super recent, but they definitely didn't need a remake. You have God of War, you have the Prince of Persia trilogy. They've all had 3D HD remakes, and for no apparent reason because they're the same exact game. And of course they are well timed. So in other words, the God of War HD
It was right before God of War 3, wasn't it?
Yeah,
was
pretty
right
much.
before 3, and then they redid it the other collection, which was a port of the PSP titles right before Ascension, I believe. There was another big bundle right before Ascension.
Well, the PSP ones, I will defend those a little bit because not everyone has a PSP, but they probably have the console. So, like, I can understand why they'd be like, let's bring those to the consoles, even though they're not going to be graphically as high quality. Let's bring them there so at least you can catch up on those little stories. Because a lot of those got good ratings.
They did the same thing with Resident Evil Revelations.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Because it was originally a 3DS title, and they put it onto console because it did so well.
Yeah, but then the Prince of Persia, didn't they release that to tie in with the Jake Gyllenhaal movie?
Well, they released a new game as
They
well,
remake-
didn't
No. They
No.
released that game right before they released, I believe, the Forgotten Sands, which was supposed to.
Oh,
Well,
Because remember-
also,
They went to that 3D Prince of Persia, a new style with a different prince,
yeah.
and then they wanted to come back to the originals, which was the Sands of Time trilogy. So they made the Forgotten Sands as the fourth one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the newest
okay.
one wasn't that bad of a game. It was just kind of like you didn't have to play it. It really wasn't necessary.
I think the controllers were a little wonky.
Weird. Yeah.
I tried playing it, I just couldn't get into it, I don't know why.
Also, I don't know if anyone knows, but or if anyone really noticed, but they did remake the original Prince of Persia game, like not Sands of Time or anything like that. The original 2D side-scrolling game, they remade that, and it actually was really good. It was just essentially an updated graphical version of that, and it was. I liked it.
They had it on the Xbox Marketplace, and then they ported it to iOS and Android as well. They actually just released the remake of the second Prince of Persia, the side scroller.
Huh. I didn't know that one.
Yep.
But yeah, there are definitely ones that don't need to be made, or if they are made, they shouldn't have been made.
Oh, Silent Hill. I actually like that you brought up timing for these releases. What do you guys think about collector's editions? Because those will always come out whenever any new title is released, and especially like the one I think of is the Elder Scrolls collection. They come out with an anthology or collection. I'm not sure what they call it, but after they've come out with all the DLC, I think they want to for Skyrim. They've come out with this very pretty box set of like all the Elder Scrolls games, including the ones that they give away for free.
Man, if only I didn't already buy all of those.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, they're reselling me games I already own, and I made my intentions clear last night of how I feel. I feel like most remakes are a waste of money. You're essentially buying the exact same game you already own, and I don't care if they include like some little statuette or some piece
but
of.
But collectors do, and that's what these things are for.
And
I don't know if I personally
That's
care
why
enough
there's a
to
limited
spend
number.
so much money
And that's why
this
businesses do it,
big,
because
beautiful-
they know that the collectors, the hardcore collectors, are gonna go buy the $120 version of it because
that's
Guild
why
Wars 2 Collector's Edition.
And that's why I think physical media will never really die outright, because there will always be these big, beautiful box sets, and we will buy a whole new game just because they gave us, an art book, or
Kingdom
it
Hearts
comes
has
with
an
the
art book.
soundtrack.
and
Way to
Louis,
Yeah,
Go back
but
to,
they
like,
they
five
prey on that though.
Oh,
They
yeah,
know that
definitely.
you're gonna buy that.
Well,
and
Square Enix knows me
they
too
can-
well.
and they can jack
Yeah,
up the
Adrian.
prices. You basically pay an extra like $30 for what is essentially a $5 chunk of plastic or something.
well, Louis,
I
like
don't-
you're the one that they're not trying to market to, though.
Yeah, I know,
You're
I
very
know.
much not into that, and that's totally fine. Because again, that's just you. You're not into
Yeah.
playing those older games. But a lot of us seem to be kind of the people who, if it's the right game, we're like, yeah, we'll get behind that. We would like to play
Yeah,
that
exactly.
again.
I
Exactly.
would dump so much money on this.
And that's why so many companies are going to Kickstarter to even try to do stuff like that, because of the fact of they would bring this to companies and they would be like, no, you're not going to make money back on that. So they're kind of like, all right, people, if you want it, put your money where your mouth is, because we'll make it. Give us the money to be able to make it. And by giving us $20, you get the game when it comes out. There you go.
I know. I can see why they do it, and I can see how both sides, profit from it and enjoy it. I just don't, personally, me as a Louis gamer, don't necessarily enjoy them.
As the Louis gamer.
And you have to remember all these collector's editions that they have. I mean, I buy collector's editions a lot too, but I buy it knowing that that's something I'm going to keep, and that's probably not something that's going to be worth shit later on. Like, I'm pretty sure my Wonder Woman beating the crap out of Batman for my Injustice Collector's Edition is not going to be worth much later on.
Nope.
Yeah.
Because
And
nobody wants to see Batman get beat up, because Batman never loses. So,
I don't know. To Wonder Woman?
Give
Wonder
Batman
Woman
enough
will win.
preparation time, he'll be able to take on anyone.
Yeah.
Also, I do want to get the Mortal Kombat bookends where it's got Scorpion shooting.
I have
his
those.
blade. I want that. I want that.
Well, Wonder Woman doesn't really have anything to use against Batman.
She has
Yeah,
her
but
lasso.
she's a
She has her
goddess.
lasso.
But
She's a
she's-
superhuman goddess.
But the
She
lasso
fly.
is about truth and stuff, right? I don't know. I'm not a DC fan.
But no, it's. I don't know. I've said my piece.
All right,
I bought a collector's edition. They gave me an art book, and I was unsatisfied.
I want to get the collector's edition of Final Fantasy X-2
Me
remake.
too. Me
It's
too.
Not just that, if
Despite
you really want that statue of that book, go on eBay like 2 weeks later, and I'm pretty sure it'll sell.
It's true.
Yeah.
But
It's true. I can sell you pieces of my Advent pieces.
original
I have that.
box set.
Original box set. I haven't even opened the Advent Children DVD from that box set.
Steph, you sadden me.
Dude, I have several copies of that
Wounded.
movie.
All
I
right,
need
so-
to open it.
So Louis, in
I want it.
a world where you did remakes, right?
Okay.
Not the world we
World.
live in, not the world we live in, but what would you like to see come back?
What would I like to see come back? old school Nintendo games, which like I said, Nintendo's been doing a good job bringing those games back for people who want to play on systems that we use today. I don't have to dig out my N64 that I have laying at my feet if I want to play a game.
64.
Or if I
we like remakes.
My N64 game that I would want to be remade is Star Fox, though. But that's
They sort of did.
But they didn't. It's just not this. They made games like the Star Fox, like on the GameCube and stuff, but they haven't been the same. And then they're dinosaurs, and it gets really confusing.
That's the way it is in
Crisis.
life. It's like, I was gonna do things, and then there were dinosaurs, and then I couldn't.
That was one of the games that, what was the feminist name? The feminist chick's name?
Anita?
Anita.
I shouldn't have called her a chick, because now I'm...
Now you're a horrible person.
Check
Anita,
your privilege.
Anita, that Star Fox game was originally supposed to be a new IP, right? And it was featuring a girl, and they completely changed it to turn it into Star Fox 54. That's why the dinosaurs
which
are there.
going back to our milking a franchise points.
Right.
Well, if anyone's good at milking a franchise, it's Nintendo. Let's
Really?
count.
Pokemon?
I can count the IPs on like one hand. Like they have Metroid, they have Star
Mario.
Fox, Mario,
Zelda.
Zelda. Yeah, and it's like, let's just take those four and just keep remaking
I like how
new
Riley
versions.
specifically doesn't mention Pokemon after we've mentioned it like 3 times.
Oh no, Pokemon. You're right. Pokemon 2.
That's 5. That's still 5.
That's still
So
5.
one
That's
hand.
still one hand.
And they have
Like those
they
are
have
the
a whole-
5 big ones.
Yeah,
that
and they have a
keep
whole
doing
back catalog of stuff that they're gonna, once they realize people they milked it too much. They have this back catalog of original IPs that they can just keep bringing back.
But here's
So-
the thing, though, is they're so good at remaking those games that they know exactly what to make feel new,
Right.
so that every time you play one of those games, there's always something in it that's like, oh, this is kind of different. So you kind of fall in love with it all over again.
Right.
So Riley, what is your most wanted re-release? Is that from Nintendo too?
No. A game that I would really like to see that's actually one of my favorite games and actually really made me want to get into trying to be a part of the game industry was Freedom Fighters, which also isn't that old, but I would love to see that game graphically updated in something like the CryEngine or even Unreal for that matter. It was made by the people who made Hitman and stuff like that. I don't know if any of you guys played it. Maybe? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great game, and I really enjoyed it, and I loved the soundtrack for it, and it had some issues with the AI, but other than that, I really liked that game, and I would love to see that come out if they were to do some tweaking with it and graphically update it. I think there would be a lot of possibility to make that a very interesting and cool comeback, because that's essentially what Homefront was supposed to be. It was kind of
Yeah.
the second one of
That
that.
was a little
but-
disappointing.
No, that was
And they're making-
horribly disappointing.
They're doing
They're
a
making a
sequel.
sequel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really?
Hmm.
Yep.
Oh,
That
John.
first one sold shitloads of copies.
No goody. How about
Yeah,
Gary?
Gary, which Final Fantasy would you like remade?
Well, I would love to see some Final Fantasies remade, but I'm going to have to deviate from my normal Final Fantasyism to go with Xenosaga series.
Do you think they really need remaking?
Yes, because
Really?
I need
'Cause-
achievements.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, well, that
You need to whore yourself
I-
out for those achievements.
I don't understand. But there
Well,
was
I
plenty
wanted-
enough to do.
I wanted
There was
more
enough
pretty.
achieved.
More pretty version of Cosmos.
I don't know. When they tried to make her more pretty in the later ones, I still like the original design the best.
I do, but I think if they
I have her
improved
figure
upon her,
right back there, if you can see her.
I think if they improved upon her original image, like with better graphics, it would be amazing.
Maybe. How about you, Ernesto?
Okay, since I kind of picked this subject for the show, I kind of got 3.
Oh,
But I'll say them real quick. First off, I think Disney's doing a really good job with remakes, with DuckTales and the Castle of Illusion coming out. There are a couple other Disney games that are near and dear to my heart. The main one being Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. I think they should remake that game. I think it was amazing. I would like to see them remake, and it should be like a cheaper digital download of it. The original Legend of Zelda, the original Legend of Zelda, but with like a Link to the Past type remake. So
Did they do that again for the Advance? I remember having that game.
Four Swords?
Yeah, that one.
No, but that wasn't the original. It wasn't
Yeah,
a remake of the original. That was a new one. You have the
Really?
You have Hyrule Historia. Look it up.
No, it's. I know exactly which one you're talking about, and yeah, I agree. That would make.
You mean the one that was the gold
Oh,
plated
that one.
cartridge?
Yeah, gold cartridge, original 8-bit Nintendo Legend of Zelda. I would love to see it remade with graphics from like the Link to the Past type, the Super Nintendo version.
I see what you mean. Sorry, I got mixed up.
And this one's really, I'm a side scroller guy, so this one's actually really old. I don't know if a lot of people are going to remember it. Little Nemo the Dream Master.
I remember that movie.
Where you would feed different animals candy to make them fall asleep, and then you would get a costume to be able to use their powers throughout the video game.
Want some candy?
It's an old game, and a lot of people don't remember it, but it was a great game.
Kids who wants the candy.
All right, those are my three.
Want some
Steph,
candy?
Steph, your turn.
Want some candy?
Steph, my turn. Gary, stop being creepy.
It's actually an empty wrapper.
Stop being creepy.
All right.
This is my
So,
turn. My turn. Okay. I actually want to see games that I thought had a lot of potential and were just terribly buggy to the point of being unplayable. So the one I chose was Vampire the Masquerade because
That would be
I
cool.
thought that had potential, and I couldn't get through it because I got so mad at everything bugging out all the time. That's my choice. Thank you for joining us this week. I guess this wraps up our conversational talk about all our HD releases once and cares. But next week we are going to discuss movies based on video games.
And video games based on
God.
movies.
And the other way around now.
And the other way
books
around now that
based
it
on
is.
video games and video games based
that
on
are
books.
based on movies.
Yep,
All
it's
right.
an interesting switch. But I hope you'll join us next week.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye.
Peace.